It's getting cold here in Indiana, so today let's make one of my favorite soups of all time, Canh Bung. This is a flavorful but comforting soup from northern Vietnam, traditionally made with eggplant, tomato, fried tofu, and pork. You can absolutely veganize this dish by omitting or replacing pork with mushrooms. I recommend oyster or king oyster mushrooms. I switch between these versions, pork and mushroom, depending on what's available, and both are equally delicious. This soup is umami, just a touch acidic, and has beautiful punchy flavors from the garlic. What makes it really special is tieto purple perilla. I'll tell you more about it later, but now let's go harvest some ingredients from the garden. Let's start with some eggplants. And now some green onion. Let's go over to the tieto. This is our volunteer tieto plant. We dumped some old plants here from last season, and some seeds must have fallen through the crack in the concrete, and one day this plant just popped up. It's bigger than any of the plants that we actually tried to grow in pots this year. It's late in the season now and it will probably die soon, so let's harvest a lot of the leaves. It's going to seed all of these flowers, so maybe next year we'll have some random plants again. Here we have some garlic that we grew last winter and harvested earlier this year. Tomatoes from the garden as well, and some tofu. Vietnamese tieto is the same species but different variety than the varieties that are commonly used in Korean and Japanese cuisines. The type used in Vietnam is almost always purple on both sides of the leaves, or at least the underside. It is beloved and often used in Vietnamese cuisine, both as an herb to be eaten raw or an ingredient in a cooked dish like this one. A little explanation on the name Canh Bung. Canh refers to a side soup that is an important component of the traditional Vietnamese dinner table. It is often, but not always, a light and vegetable-forward soup. Different canh can range from very simple, with just greens and pork or shrimp, like canh bí, or more complex and heartier, like canh chua cá or canh khoai mỡ. The difference between canh and soup from the French soup is a little blurry. Anything that comes from a different country, especially in Europe, would definitely be a soup. For mainly vegetable ones from Vietnam, the distinction usually comes down to whether it's served as an individual appetizer or a communal side dish. The word gà in Canh Bung is Vietnamese for eggplant, and bung refers to how the eggplant pieces soften and release their shape as they're cooked. Let's get started. First, we will cut and marinate our pork belly, or mushroom if you're making a vegan version.
If you're using mushrooms, slice into bite-sized pieces. If your pork belly is not pre-cut into strips like these, cut it into strips about 5 centimeters wide. Slice these strips into ½ centimeter thick pieces. Add your pork belly or mushroom into a bowl and marinate with fish sauce or vegan fish sauce and bouillon powder. Mix well and set aside. Depending on the size of the eggplant, you may want to cut it in half lengthwise. Slice crosswise into 1 to 1½ centimeter thick pieces. This is optional, but I recommend adding the eggplant slices to a large bowl of salty water. This helps prevent them from turning brown. Cut tomatoes into even wedges, 4 to 8 slices depending on the size of your tomatoes. Trim off any of the tough core. Thinly sliced shallot. Minced garlic. Chop green onion into 0.5 to 1 centimeter pieces. Stack up your perilla leaves and cut them crosswise into 1 centimeter strips. Pat dry, then cut tofu into 2 to 3 centimeter cubes. Add a 1 centimeter deep layer of oil to a frying pan and heat on medium-low. Add tofu and fry until golden on all sides. This should take about 10 minutes. Once the tofu is ready, remove from pan. Place on a plate lined with paper towel or an oil rack to remove excess oil and set aside. Heat a tablespoon of oil on medium in a large soup pot. Add shallot and saute until fragrant, about 30 seconds. Add pork belly or mushroom. For mushrooms, saute for about 2 to 3 minutes. For pork belly, cook until no longer pink, about 3 to 5 minutes. Add tomato and saute for another 2 minutes. Add eggplant slices, turmeric powder, and fish sauce. Stir and cook for 1 minute. Add in water and bouillon powder, then bring everything to a boil on high heat. Once boiling, reduce heat to medium-low, cover, and cook for 7 minutes. Add in the fried tofu, rice vinegar, and season to taste with extra fish sauce if needed. Then return the lid and cook for another 2 minutes. Turn off heat, add in chopped perilla leaves, minced garlic, chopped green onion, then stir to combine. Ladle into a bowl and serve immediately. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this canh is usually served as a component of a dinner along with other dishes. However, with such a great mix of ingredients, it's definitely interesting enough to stand alone. I love having the soup for lunch, usually with some jasmine rice, but bun noodles or even pasta also make for delicious options. What are you waiting for? Give this soup a try and don't forget to subscribe for more Vietnamese and French recipes.